So once we as school leaders, we get into that mode that rote learning will only score marks but not competencies, I think this shift is very much required.
We're talking about moving away from rote memorization to competency-based assessments and learning. So what do you think are the biggest mindset and structural changes? I believe that we are at an inflection point where already that mindset shift has started happening. School leadership is talking about how we can meaningfully integrate technology as well.
Teachers are super happy because it is more of an enabler than a burden to them.
Absolutely. Because a teacher's role in an organization will always be at the backbone. They'll always be at the center and at the heart of learning for our students, and how we can support them with the right data points so that they can take more effective decisions and maybe reduce their workload from the mundane tasks of creating assessments or evaluation or lesson planning, and so that they can actually be with the students. And
I think recall has to go away. We have to move towards design thinking.
these traditional skills that we've acquired so far will also change.
While we are using technology platforms like Academite.
A very good morning, ma'am. Today we have with us Sangeeta Rameja from Delhi Public School, Sector 67. She's the principal here. So thank you so much, ma'am, for hosting us today at this beautiful campus. I'd like to start by asking you that we're talking about moving away from rote memorization to competency-based assessments and learning. So what do you think are the biggest mindset and structural changes that schools need to make in today's world?
Thank you for having me, Riddhi. I think the mindset has to change that we need to not only cover the syllabus, but focus on competencies. When we focus on competency-based learning, children learn collaborative learning, children do self-paced learning, and now technology is also integrated into the schools. I feel the mindset shift amongst the schools should be the lesson planning has to change, the assessments have to change, the teacher upskilling has to come up, and all children cannot learn at the same pace.
Good.
So once we as school leaders, we get into that mode that rote learning will only score marks but not competencies, I think this shift is very much required. Parents also have to be brought up into the picture, keeping in mind that the objectives are met at the teacher level, the parent level, and the school level.
Sure. I think from what I understand, you're saying how all the stakeholders should also be aligned. And it's not just a mindset of a school leadership, but also the teachers, the parents, and that's how we can work coherently. And I believe that we are at an inflection point where already that mindset shift has started happening. School leadership is talking about how we can meaningfully integrate technology as well, and focus away from, say, one-size-fits-all approach to more competencies.
In a country where boards are defining the school structure, I see formative assessments are already defining the skill-based education, and that will help the children crack the board exams as well.
Correct.
Skill building at a nascent age is very important, and we're already doing it in our schools.
Yeah.
I think that individual personalized learning is happening where children will be moving at their own pace and yet covering the syllabus.
Yeah.
What CBSE talks about.
Sure. I think self-paced learning, promoting student agency, and now bringing assessments which are more formative in nature for practice purposes that gives them a non-threatening environment. That definitely, keeps the child at the center amidst all of this.
Right.
So thank you so much for those insights. Ma'am, the National Education Policy also talks extensively about experiential learning, holistic development, and technology integration. So how do you see that schools should bring these policies into practice in everyday life?
In everyday life, I think NEP policies should be embedded in the lesson plans. When the teachers are planning their lessons, they need to sit together, collaborate, do a lot of interdisciplinary learning that is happening, project-based learning. The seating spaces should be collaborative in nature. A lot of experiential learning should be done at the class rather than why, how should be considered as a teacher. And I feel children work very well when they are not judged on a singular basis. So we should make sure that children complement each other. They made it to sit into groups. And I see a skill-based learning is also part of NEP. If a child is not doing well in academics, there are other ways of assessing the child. We should include multiple intelligences. CBSE says that you can include SDG goals into your curriculum. So there are many ways that NEP can be implemented and student learning can happen in the schools. Technology integration, I think, is happening at CBSE level only. The schools are expected to use technology. While we are using technology, platforms like Academy give us diagnostic assessments rather than coming to the result and waiting till the last. Intervention in between is very important. And the moment we get to know the learning journey or the path of the child, I think that is very important. Parents also can be a part of it, and teacher can guide the child before even the result is announced. So diagnostics through technology are very important. The report card now is holistic progress card. So teachers are using a lot of technology. Teachers are using technology to plan their lessons. Teachers are using technology to even save the data and send it to the students. So NEP has been brought in a great change with respect to technology and the policies, I would say.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now assessment is at the heart of education. So how do you see that competency-based assessments will now be complementing or replacing the traditional exams over the next few years?
I think with the traditional exams are here to stay because we are a board-driven system. But definitely AI-driven competency-based examinations will complement them. We've already started that. Formative assessments are happening. Project-based learning is happening. Children are making portfolios. So I think it's a good system to complement. And as I said, in the early years, in my previous statement also, I said, in the early years, we are doing a lot on interdisciplinary learning. So children are learning at their own pace, at their own speed. I would say portfolio building helps a lot. Project-based learning helps a lot. And they can definitely complement each other. Competency-based learning is not here to replace the traditional system. Eventually, it might, over a period of time, when we move towards AI-based learning. Schools.
Yeah, so I think if we can take the best of both and move ahead, right? Both formatives, which are happening continuously, and then summative assessments of the traditional exams that we have at the end of the year or middle of the session. I think that would be a good way and a good blend of how we can assess a child holistically.
Right.
Now, adding HPCs into the picture also tracks how a child is not just performing academically, but in other spheres and other domains as well.
So the format of the question paper has also changed. CBSE says it should be 50% of competency-based questions.
Yes.
So Riddhi, I would like to tell you that CBSE also has changed the pattern of the question paper. 50% is now competency-based. We're doing all that in our classrooms while we're doing formative assessments. There are, for junior children, continuous and comprehensive assessments are going on. In a very subtle manner, we are giving them objective type questions, reading in between the lines, giving them case-based questions, some application-based questions. So therefore, there is no rote learning happening. I think assessments are going on very well. There are no direct questions asked, and children have gotten used to it. And I think every child has something to share while they're writing, and there's nothing right or wrong in that.
Perfect. So now, from a principal's lens, what role do you see for AI-powered platforms like Academy, which can help in supporting teachers without actually building to their workload or overwhelming them with a lot of data?
We've been using Academy for the last 2 years, and teachers are very happy. In fact, the teacher's workload is lesser now. What diagnostic AI gives us, I think teachers take a while to do that. Now, intervention in between is always better than waiting for the result.
Sure.
So the moment we get the diagnostic report, teachers start working on it. Parents are also into the loop. The children do the assessments at home. Parents also work on the child on the same topic. the best part about Academy is I think it is acting on competency-based assignments. Suppose if there's a question on fractions, the child is in grade 6, child is not able to do, it'll move one level down. If the child is able to do, even a 7th grade question will be put up to the child. I think this is the best way of learning at their own pace. Academy gives a very good platform for the principals also. As the head of the school, I can see which class is doing better. More than that, in which subject and in which chapter. That gives a deep insight into how can we work with children. And I think it is taking away the teacher's administrative work. Teachers are super happy because it is more of an enabler than a burden to them.
Absolutely.
So I think AI platforms are definitely complementing the work and supporting the teacher and the students at the same point of time. The AI platform, with the AI platform, the children can work at home also. Not necessarily that they have to be in school to attempt questions. Academy gives support also very well. If the child is stuck at any question, the child can post a question, the team can answer it back. And very often we see children improving their scores with the AI platforms. I think I'm very happy with the way we are going. And looking ahead, I think in the years to come, AI is going to change the assessments forever and learning also.
Absolutely. No, I think you put it very beautifully. Even we truly believe that AI is like an aid. It's like an enabler that can empower our stakeholders rather than replacing them. Because a teacher's role in an organization will always be at the backbone. They'll always be at the center and at the heart of learning for our students. And how we can support them with the right data points so that they can take more effective decisions and maybe reduce their workload from the mundane tasks of creating assessments or evaluation or lesson planning, and so that they can actually be with the students and have more connections which are at the heart of it.
Yeah, so teachers are able to focus more on how the child can be supported rather than only correcting papers and doing the regular work. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ma. So looking ahead 5 to 10 years from now, what are the skills that students must acquire and develop for this future-driven world? And how do you think that our schools can prepare our students for this?
I think 5-10 years down the line, a lot of critical thinking, analytical thinking is required. A lot of skill-based activities. In fact, Kaushal Bodh has been introduced by CBSE recently for middle school. And it is a mandatory course where children will be learning about hydroponic farming. Children will be learning stitching, carpentry, and there are other courses. I think this is the need of the hour. Courses might change, assessments might change, skills are here to remain. Integration of technology is one of the very important skill I feel. There will be board exams will not be there. Sorry. So I don't think board exams will continue to be there maybe after 10 years. There'll be more of AI-based assessments, more of skill-based assessment. Maybe there will be self-paced courses designed for students. If you see the Bloom's taxonomy, the first is recall. I think recall has to go away. We have to move towards design thinking, more of analytical thinking, more of comprehending skills. So I think schools need to prepare for that because we are at an age and stage we don't know which careers our children want to choose after maybe 10 years. So let's prepare them for the future by adapting these skills into our curriculum.
Absolutely. I think what I have seen is that the world is moving at such a fast pace that these traditional skills that we've acquired so far will also change, right? And as you rightly mentioned, critical thinking, analytical thinking, in my mind, even collaboration and curiosity. If we can keep that curiosity of students alive, where they can ask the right questions at any given point in time and not curve that, because that's what leads to new innovations and then inventions, right? And this world is just moving towards that, where we see newer developments and fast-paced advancements every now and then. So keeping that curiosity of children also alive could be very important.
Yeah, that's right, Kirti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having us. And it was a wonderful conversation and looking forward to many more interactions.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure interacting with you.
So follow us for many more meaningful conversations and interactions like these.